We must be the change. What does that entail? That the change we are, we must enforce from an inner change to an outer change. And we can only confirm the change that we are if we have changed the outer reality, which is the physical manifested mind as it exists as the system here on earth. If we have changed that into who we are inside, one and equal, then we are in fact the change. Are you ready for the change? Because at the moment what is manifested outside us as the physical mind is in fact what is inside every human being, and that is quite a disaster. So you start with yourself, an inner change, and change the outer. From the small, that means within your relationships first, your relationship with yourself, then your relationship with your community, then with your society, and then with your earth, and then with your universe. So it's a step-by-step process. You can't do it all at once. You do it breath by breath. That's the simplicity of equality. 1 + 1 + 1. Step by step, you accumulate the will and the power and the ability to stand here, inner and outer equal, as life, the actual change, where all is in fact brothers. That is what destiny is, the practical brotherhood of man. We must be the change.
So, with regards to this interview, we must be the change. What I would like to add about this is how one goes about changing the inner reality of oneself so that we can eventually stand one and equal within self-purification as what is best for all, so that each one lives that, so that eventually our outer reality as the world will manifest and reflect our self-purification on the inside. How do we go about that? Now, the Destiny material in the form of articles and videos have been focusing on this exact point for many years now. And what we've done in the interviews, the video interviews, the articles that were done, is we revealed all our research and we placed all our research around the human design, around the mind, our design as the mind consciousness system, our design around who we have become according to our pre-programming. And what that did for each person is it gave each person a point of reference to work from. So, for example, in relation to the point of purifying one's inner reality, what we all did, and that we encourage people to do that join the forums, is to take the Destiny material, which, as I mentioned, represents each person's design within consciousness, to take the material and to write out your own experience in relation to the material. So let's say, for example, a document deals on and about spirituality, or the white light, or the deception of spirituality. What we suggest to each person then is read through the document or listen to the interview and then write out your own experience in relation to what is being discussed within the document or the interview. And what we do then is we support people on the forums to effectively write out self-forgiveness in relation to each major point that they wrote about. And through doing this, the key point there would be the self-realization. You know, it's not just about rambling off lines of self-forgiveness that you were shown how to do on the forum. It's a process of self-realization where within the line of self-forgiveness that you are saying or writing out, which we suggest you do both in any way, as you write out a line of self-forgiveness, you say the self-forgiveness out loud so that you can hear within your own voice and tonality, is there a change? Am I feeling anxious? Is there a tightening in my stomach? Am I feeling like a flush come up? If there's any kind of physical experience, any type of reaction, or any type of energetic reaction where you shift from being comfortable to uncomfortable, while you are busy saying the self-forgiveness sentence, then you know that there's a point in relation to the self-forgiveness sentence that is not clear, is not effective. And what one then would do is you would go more specifically into it by, for example, taking the key words within the sentence and expanding on them. And this is where on the forums one can, if one is not sure how to do this, you can ask specific questions, and there will always be somebody that will assist you with that. So we supported people in saying, look, write out your own experience in relation to the Destiny document or video, and then write out self-forgiveness on what you wrote. And if you're not sure how to do self-forgiveness, as I mentioned, there is always support. Because why do I say that? As I just highlighted in what I said a minute ago, it's about self-realization. So it's not about just rambling things that you think it should be. It's within the self-forgiveness statement actually realizing, oh my God, I have been doing that. I've been allowing that. No, I see that this is not what is best for me. It is not what is best for all. I stop now and I change. That is the actual realization that you are achieving or coming to within your self-forgiveness statement. And then from there, one will do self-corrective statements. So you will take that self-forgiveness sentence that you wrote and you spoke out loud, and you will take it right through to self-correction. Now, what is self-correction? That is, how do I prepare myself in future situations when I am again wanting to, let's use the spirituality point as an example. Next time I'm wanting to abdicate, for example, say you were writing about abdicating self-responsibility to God to tell me what to do. Now, you've done your self-forgiveness on that, and where necessary you've expanded, but the self-corrective statement is how you are going to correct yourself in the moment when you find yourself in the same pattern. You stop, you breathe, you will bring self-responsibility back to self by immediately taking on the point that requires directing, stopping all thoughts that say, I'm too afraid to do this, why can't Jesus do it for me, or God, or whatever your spiritual belief is. And then I direct the point as myself, realizing I am here, there's only me, and I'm responsible for myself. Those would be examples of self-corrective statements where you are preparing yourself for what you are going to do next time, how you're going to walk the point, sort of mapping the point out for yourself. And you'll find this is very effective next time you're in a situation again, and you're in your, let's say, spirituality construct, and a reaction comes up and you start going into fear. Because you've already mapped out the correction for yourself, you go, wait, I've already done self-forgiveness on this. I've written out my self-corrective statement. I stop, I breathe, and then you apply what you wrote out you were going to do. And this in itself is not a quick fix. Realize that we have all created our inner realities over a long period of time. We've all been had traits passed down to us from our parents, which combined, and now it formed us as our DNA, as who we are. So already we come into this world with specific traits given to us by our parents and their parents. Now you are placed into specific environmental influences, which then further develop your personality as who you become in this lifetime. So from birth and pre-birth, you are already looking at you started developing. Then where one is able to go back in time and start doing, walking one's life backwards in time by using a document or a video as one's reference point, is you go back to the earliest memories. Let's say, for example, the example here again is a document on spirituality, and you read through that document. Now you decide you are going to do self-forgiveness on your own life in relation to your spirituality designs and all your beliefs and fears and worries around spirituality and the entire construct which exists as a fear-based design of not taking self-responsibility. So then you go to the earliest memories. Okay, my first religious influence I remember happening when I was 7. My parents said I must go to church, and the minister said this, and I got a fright, and then I believed from that point on there should be, I should believe in a God. Then you just go, okay, what is the next memory? So now you've written out that memory. You do self-forgiveness. and you see where in your life today you are still allowing yourself to fall into that pattern of reaction response, where now you are in a similar situation and you are triggered into the same reaction of wanting to believe, oh God, I'm afraid, ooh, I mustn't direct this, I must believe in a God, or something similar to that. And you just go, what is the next memory? What is the next memory? You just write it all out. And what I find is that when you've written everything out, like let's say you take one construct such as spirituality, and you have looked at all the memories in your life associated to who was involved, what happened, what was your reaction, and so forth. And this is why we call it a process, because it sometimes might require of one to repeat the same correction over and over, meaning you've written everything out, you've done self-correction, but every time you are in the face of fear of directing yourself here in this reality, you go into this unexplainable fear, you start trembling, sweating, heart palpitations, and you just can't do it. This basically means that one has already physically aligned oneself to the point. You've already programmed yourself as that fear, okay? And this you've done through the accumulation effect of all the effects that happened within the memories. Now you are the product of everything that you've already built, all the layers. It's like layers of an onion. So what that requires of one is not to give up. Don't go, oh, well, I did the writing and I did the self-forgiveness and everything, and I still can't direct myself. That is, if you look at it, irrelevant completely, because nobody else is going to do it for you. So if one immediately realizes that there is only you, there is only me, there is only self that can change in every moment, therefore you just stick to it. You use breathing to assist yourself when you are faced within a pattern, and you stop and you breathe, focus on your breathing, because immediately if you look at it right now, if you immediately focus back on your breathing, feel the air go in and out of your lungs, that's all you're focusing on, is observing you as the physical breathing. Immediately your mind stops. So it takes you away from the external point that you were worrying about and the thoughts that were racing through your mind, and that brings you back here as breathing, as the physical. So that's why we say it's so important. And then you just stick to the point. It might take months, it might take years. I suggest sticking to the point, because if it took you 20 to 40 years to program it, it might take us as long to deprogram it and to reprogram ourselves according to an effective, stable expression. So that is my perspective with regards to utilizing the Destiny material to support oneself in clearing the inner reality. We also have the Destiny Eye Process courses, where we structure the methods that we support people with in specific ways, month by month, according to the conscious, subconscious, unconscious, and we take people through how the mind functions. And for those who are unable to afford to pay for the courses, we have blogging for sponsorship. I suggest go on to the Introduction to Destiny Forum, and you will see on the main page there is a thread called Blogging for Sponsorship. I suggest read the thread. If you have further questions, you can ask. But there is a possibility of blogging consistently for a few months, and the moderators and the buddies on the forum will support you in directing the writings effectively and consistency, and through that you could possibly receive sponsorship for those who are unable to pay for the course, or there is partial sponsorship if you are able to pay a certain amount but you can't afford the rest. So please don't discard anything. All the forums are there already to support everybody, free. It's there, it's available. The Demonology Forum is there for the exact same reason. It's to come and write out your mind demons, write out everything that you think is getting too much for you. You come write it out on the forum and we'll support you there. The ITD forum is there for that same purpose as well. So, and then if possible you can join us on the courses. Thank you very much.